people that go too fast, like myself, sometimes you get in that race, that grit, blind commitment, and you don't stop to be like, wait, this isn't serving me. This doesn't feel good. So I need to make a pivot to make sure I'm writing my own outcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another broadcast of Write Your Outcome. I'm very excited for this week's episode. Truth be told, I have Kristin Kasselman with me in the studio, so to speak. It's Kansas City, New York. But Kristin and I have been partners in crime for a very long time, almost over a decade. So welcome, Kristin. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to spend time with you as always.
Yes. So Kristin and I have to tell, we go way back, but I want to do her background justice. So I'm going to read some things about her, and then I'm going to add my own comments because she's such a fabulous person. So Kristin is the Senior Vice President and the Head of Livestock and Equine at Zoetis. She leads the strategic direction and operations of one of the most impactful portfolios in animal health. Her focus is on empowering teams, fostering collaboration, and delivering innovative solutions that address the unique needs of her customers in livestock and equine industries. Kristin is passionate about creating synergies across teams and ensuring they remain the trusted partner for veterinarians, livestock producers, and horse owners. She has had a 25-year career at Zoetis, and I've been so privileged to watch her rise up the ranks because she is just brilliant at bringing people and results together. I'm going to go back to her bio. Her career has been shaped by diverse leadership roles, spanning sales, operations, and business management. Her journey has given her a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities in animal health and the importance of listening to the people and the customers to drive meaningful impact. For those of you who don't know, Zoetis supports farmers and veterinarians in raising healthier herds by offering a full suite of solutions from vaccines and diagnostics to medicines and technical support. Now, Kristin works in the livestock area. There's also a whole pet area, but right now we were focused there, and I just can't wait to get into this conversation. So I have to add my little caveat. I have watched her lead teams for over a decade, and what has always impressed me about Kristin is her ability to get results through people. And she cares so deeply about both. And often I work with leaders who just want the results in spite of the people, or people that are so caring with the people that they're too busy nurturing them to get the results. And the balance she has achieved with both is just remarkable. What I also love about watching her over the last decade is her commitment to her self-care. And you know, I'm such a big proponent of that. Kristin has a big job. She travels a lot all over the country, and yet she really prioritizes her relationships with her husband, her health, and we'll get into that as we talk. But let me just say welcome, Kristin. And how are you this afternoon?
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm doing great, and I appreciate all the very kind and encouraging words. And we, as you said, have been on a journey together for more than a decade, and many of the principles and things that I have adopted in my style are a result of many things I've learned from you. So I want to thank you for all that you have taught me and how you have challenged me in a positive way, both personally and professionally.
Thank you. I like using the word symbiotic, right? It's a very symbiotic relationship. Yes. We've both really benefited. Now, as you know, the name of the podcast is Write Your Outcome. So I want to know, was there a defining moment in your career and your life when you said, you know what, the outcome I have right now isn't what I want. I need to write a new outcome. Did you ever have like one of those moments?
I think personally, I could say there's a moment, and I'll share what that is. Professionally, I think it's probably not a specific moment, but it's probably more thematic and just some reflection and candidly some conversations with you. So let me start with personal piece. I think the personal moment for me, I lost my dad about 2.5 years ago, and he worked very hard and probably waited to retire till after he was 65. And I remember, the whole family was with him when he was in hospice before he passed. And one of his, parting words of wisdom was, don't work too hard and don't wait. And, the message was essentially, don't prioritize your entire life just around work, and then you're done working and you don't have much time left to enjoy. So he was a physician and loved what he did, but I also saw, he didn't have great self-care, and he made a lot of sacrifices, and he did that for the family, which was great. But it really, I remember when he passed, my husband, Brian, was there too. And he said, this is really going to change us. And when he made that comment, I didn't really know. I agreed, yes, it's going to change us, but I didn't know how. And, after he passed, I just sort of had a different feeling about priorities and what's most important. And, that sort of changed my personal and professional priorities.
Yeah. And can you talk to that? Because anyone listening a lot of the audience is corporate people. So, and when you're in corporate, I'm still in corporate in a different vein, but when you're working full time for a corporation, it's so easy to just get caught up. It's exciting and you're doing things and you get in that sequence of like kind of rinse, repeat, and you're just working really hard and answering emails and you're doing a great job, but the balance gets shifted and you don't sometimes even realize it's shifted because it happens gradually. What are some things maybe that you changed since and my dear dad, it'll be 2 years in November. So it definitely changes you and how you look at life. What are some things you've done differently since?
In addition to dad passing, I also had a colleague that I respected dearly that I only worked with for a year or two. And then the colleague moved back to the country that he was from. And the reason that he moved, this was something else that really spoke to me, was he had an aging parent. And his message to me was, I don't want to live my life with regrets. I don't want something to happen to my loved ones and then reflect, hey, the last however many years, I chose to only visit one time. And when I was visiting, I was, working or distracted. And one of the biggest gifts that my manager at the time, who's still my manager today, gave me is he totally supported me to be present during that period and to be there. And so I don't have regrets, but I think to myself, had I not worked for somebody that really got it, and that's also kind of a professional key learning, is it's really important to me who I work for, and working for someone that truly lives and believes and supports family first is something that I won't compromise. That's a deal breaker for me. So that's a huge gift that he gave me. And one of the reasons why, I've now worked for him for 5 years and cherish that.
Yeah. Two things I love that you said. Thank you for that. It's very cliche to say, we always say like, live now, you don't have forever, it's not a dress rehearsal, but we say all these things, but we don't always put them in action. So what I love about watching you from afar is watching you put these things in action, watch you putting your husband first, watch you putting your family first. And then the second thing I love that you said is working for someone who doesn't just give it lip service. And anyone listening, I really want to say, and you said it just now, like you have choices about who you work for. If you're working for a horrible person who doesn't let you have, doesn't see the importance of family first and all those things, you get to choose. You get to look for something else. And not everybody, kind of people think they're stuck in this bad boss scenario. So I think anyone listening to you can say, I do have choices, and you have moved a few times in your career. Tell me about the bosses that what were the things that, I like what you're saying about this boss now really showed you family first. So now you could show that to your team, but what have you learned from past bosses that you take with you?
You always learn. I have thankfully had a lot, more, I'd say, good and positive bosses than I've had those that maybe I wouldn't want to work for again. But you learn from all of them. And I think the thing that's important is, when you work for someone that doesn't put family first or isn't empowering, it just gives you more, for me personally, more appreciation when you have the bosses that do. And it also really cemented for me, especially as I've become more, senior in my career, that working for someone that empowers me and trusts me to take risks, that's when I get really giddy at work and filled up, is when I feel like I'm really empowered and they trust me and, they'll support decisions I want to make. One of my biggest challenges is if I feel like I'm losing autonomy or, being micromanaged, and, And it helps to really understand, not just where your strengths are, but where you feel like what type of managerial style and culture really supports you to be your best self. And that's not just at work, but that ends up bleeding into the personal too.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that. So given that, like I've worked for different bosses over the years, both the micromanager and the hands-off person and everybody in between. How did you ever have to work for like a micromanager, and how did you deal with it?
In the short periods that I have had to work for managers that had styles that were not my favorite, we'll just say, the thing that I tried to do is seek out mentors that do fill me up. So if there's something that's missing from a current manager, which thankfully I don't have that today, but when I've had it in the past, I've been intentional about what mentors I reach out to and how I'm being intentional about where I want to grow and what I want to learn from them. And then I think, spending some time searching for what that person's strength is and what you can learn from them. And it could even be, this is something that I don't want to emulate. And that's a very valuable lesson. So I think it's always, check stepping the perspective.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, there's so much gold in what you're saying. It's, and I just lost my thought because you just said something so important about, realizing that your boss doesn't have to give you everything, right? So we don't always, it's just like your spouse doesn't have to give you everything. So,
right.
I love deep, meaningful conversations, and my husband doesn't always want to have those. So that's what my, my good girlfriends are for. But the same thing goes to your boss. We don't choose our bosses sometimes. So if they're not giving you everything you want, I love what you said about looking for mentors that do. And I always tell my clients about mentorship. Is it formal mentorship? Do you do like informal? Like, how do you start one of those relationships?
I have both. I have formal and informal, and I learn in both directions. Whether I'm the mentor or the mentee, I tend to appreciate the informal better. I've got some peers that I would consider informal mentors, and anytime there's a personal or a professional decision I need to make that I just really want a soundboard, I have those people that I know will just shoot me straight, and I trust their guidance and their perspective. And typically they think differently than me, which makes them that much more valuable of a mentor. I seek out those that have different perspective and experiences and strengths than I do.
Hello, I am interrupting this podcast with a very exciting announcement. My brand new book, Energize Your Happiness, Tap into Your Personal Energy and Shape Your Destiny, is now available during the soft launch for the month of November at energizeyourhappiness.com. If you have ever found yourself saying, I just don't feel like myself, I want to get back to feeling like myself again, this book is for you. It is a guide to coming home to yourself, to get beneath the stress and the noise and all those external distractions that are sapping your energy, that are taking your energy, that are wasting your energy, and to refocus you on what's important. I call them energy rules. I give Energizio exercises. And in my 25-year career, I have helped thousands of people shift their mindset, restore their energy, and rewrite the story of their life one intentional choice at a time. I also promise you this doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to push so hard to be happy. You just have to learn to harness and connect with the energy that is already within you. I am so excited. This book has been a labor of love, a decade in the making. My heart and soul and blood and tears is in this book, and I really can't wait. I'm so proud of it, and I want to share it with you. So please go to energizeyourhappiness.com, buy the book, get it as a gift, share the link with others, make it a great day. Write your outcome, and let's go back to the podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit about something last week. We were together last week in Colorado. I did a workshop for Kristin's team, and you were talking about, I don't remember the exact, you can help me the context, but there were some other teams that you guys work with. And you said, I have a talking relationship with all of these people. When's the last time any of you spoke to these people? And some were like, oh, I don't talk to them. I don't, sometimes we have so much to do on our task list. We put the blinders on, and you consciously look for those key stakeholders in other departments and say, okay, I need a relationship with them, because if I have a relationship now, it'll help me get what I need, maybe when the rug gets pulled out from under me or whatever. But tell me about how that came about. Is that something you've always done? I think it's conscious. It sounds very, very deliberate.
It's almost, I would say it's a personal and professional. I'm very faith-based, and I believe that we have people in our life, not by coincidence, but I believe there are people that God puts in my life that I am supposed to connect with. And it could be because I'm supposed to learn something from them and he's using them to teach me something, or it could be vice versa. And one of the things that, I consciously have to work on, because I have not mastered this at all, but when we get in that very fast paced, which, I like moving fast. And a lot of people that have that achiever strength, it's like it feeds a high of accomplishing things and getting things done. But when we start moving fast, then we miss sometimes the people that we are supposed to be slowing down and learning something from or teaching something to. And, maybe somebody wants to open up and be vulnerable, but if you're rushing all around, they feel like, okay, she's too busy. She doesn't have the space for this. And maybe they don't bring something up. So I think it's just important that there's a lot of gifts around us. And we feel like colleagues are the most valuable thing that we have. And you got to make time and space and not be moving so quick that you miss things.
Oh my gosh, we could just write all these quotes from what you're saying, because it's so good. Yeah. So twice you said last week, like, there's no mistake that we're all on this team together. And I love that, because I truly am a believer. So anyone listening to us right now, think about the people on your team, and there is no mistake they're on your team. The other thing you said so many good things, and let's see if I can remember them all. The other one was about when you're rushing. I know for me, when I'm having a boss that was moving so fast, I would get in their office and then I would just start, I only have 10 minutes. I got to get it out. So I would get in there and I would just, throw up all over them, because I felt like my time was limited. But when you're able to take that breath, and slow down, people feel that. Mm-hmm. And the third thing I wanted to highlight that you said about the speed, I love the analogy of, speed feels really good if you're driving down the road at, 80 miles an hour and there's nobody in front of you and you have, all your windows open, it feels really good. But the minute, someone cuts you off or you lose control. So speed is great when we're in control, but it's not so great when things start kind of tripping over each other, and to know to slow down. Since you are a fast person, I do the tilt profile with a lot of workshops, and Kristin and I are opposite complementary tilts so I'm a cross-pollinator, which means I think of the word cross-pollinate. I like to, be connected to everybody, and I'm very good, emotionally intelligent, and she is too. She's a change catalyst, and a change catalyst is someone who loves results and loves going fast. So my question to you is, when you are going fast, what do you do to pause or slow down? How do you manage that?
I have accountability partners. I have other cross-pollinators like you around me. Thankfully, one on my team that, in fact, I was talking to about this morning. He's great for me because he is methodical and he's a processor, and his energy is always just a level playing field, and being around him calms me. I also have other colleagues that have been on my teams in the past and I still work with today. And, one of the things I ask them to do is, if you ever see me in that kind of frenetic energy, just ask me, Kristin, are you breathing? And that will be just a key. Take a breath. Am I going too fast? So, it's funny because my husband recently did the tilt profile as well, and he's also a change catalyst. So yes. A husband and a wife that are both like to move at very fast speed and are both focused on results. And, it's something that we consciously think through too, because, we can't be each other's accountability partners on being fast because we both love it. But he's got people at his work that do the same thing for him.
Yeah, so important. And I took a note because I didn't want to lose it. What I've witnessed in you with your team year after year is that humbleness. So it's a confidence that I am the best Kristin I could be right now, but I'm not perfect. So call me out if I get emotionally hijacked or if I'm going down a different road. I've seen you pose that question to your team time and time again. And I love what you said about, Kristin, are you breathing? Mm-hmm. So really anyone listening, looking for those accountability partners that can, just keep you in check, because sometimes, again, when you like speed and you're an achiever and you're going fast, you sometimes don't realize how it's affecting those around you. So it's just, it's just a check-in. It's not saying, just knowing when to go fast and knowing when to slow down. I'd like to move to just your physical health. Over the years, I've watched you, just work out and get stronger and, just really take care of your health in a really, whether it's diet, nutrition, working out. Last week, again, we were in Colorado. We were up very early in the gym. And this I don't see ever very often. Like your whole team was in the gym. Mm-hmm. So, and it could be osmosis. You said to me, they already worked out before, but I do think like attracts like, and, you're all there on purpose. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your fitness journey, how you manage that with a busy schedule and the travel, and what that looks like for you.
Yeah. So a couple of things that really inspired me. One, of course, was my dad in his final moments. He made comments about not taking care of himself, which obviously made an impression on me. The other thing, as I've aged, and I know a lot of people suffer with, back pain or hip pain or things like that. I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease when I was, I think, 20. So I've been navigating it now for, more than 25 years. And it's one of those things that I have a torn labrum in my hip as well. If I don't, focus on resistance training and create muscle, then I deal with, chronic back pain or hip pain. And, the things that I love to do personally require that I'm physically strong. So that has been one of those things that, when I do it, I literally have no pain and don't feel like I'm navigating anything. So the thing that's worked for me is, create boundaries, and I do not compromise. So if I have an appointment with my trainer and a last minute call gets thrown on, I keep the appointment with my trainer. And, I make sure that I stay committed to those things and constantly learning. I'm also of the age that, as you start to move into perimenopause and have other things, ailments and, things that you're dealing with, being healthy and making sure that I'm putting, diet and exercise and sleep and all of those things first, puts me in a place where I can bring my best self to work, because we all know that corporate America can be very much like, being a professional athlete, but it's at work, and professional athletes have significant training programs and recovery and everything else. And for us to be able to bring that and also be an example for others that, hey, you don't have to sacrifice and put yourself on the back burner to be able to lead in senior positions. So it's just something that I'm not willing to compromise.
And that's the message I want people to listen to, right? It's non-negotiable.
Right.
So if, wherever you are in your fitness journey, if you are one of those people that works out or you're not someone that works out, it's like, where can you fit something in? I would say do something. Don't make it difficult. Make it so easy you can't fail. Walk around the block. Take a walk around the parking lot at work, whatever it is, do something. And then, like I've seen the results in you. When you start to see the results, and I like what you said, like when I'm doing it, I feel good.
Right.
And, and seeing our parents, my parents were not of the workout generation. My dad, he was, as he got older, I think he got into it. I remember one time when I was a kid, he was probably 50. I don't remember. I remember he was laying on the living room floor, and I laid down next to him and I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Push-ups." But he was just literally laying there. But even as he got older and his body started to break down, he always was out there walking. Even if he was with his cane or, so it is, I always say lessons of what to do and what not to do. And my dad used to like to quote, I think it was Yogi Berra, who said, "If I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself." So it's, looking at our models and then seeing the results. And then let's transfer a little bit to your marriage, right? You're both, you're in a big position. Your husband owns his own company. You both like to move fast, and you both have teams. And how do you find time for each other? What are some special maybe habits you have that, keep you guys solid?
One thing that Brian and I have in common, and it's a good thing considering, the time and energy that we put into professional. We have the same hobby, thankfully. I'm an avid bow hunter, and after we got married, Brian started as well, and that's something we do together. So, we go to Canada every spring, and we're deer hunting in Kansas where we live a lot of October and November, and that time in the woods to just be out in nature and not with any technology, not near the phone, is just it's transformational, and it just provides a major reset. And the fact that we can do that together really helps our connectivity, and it helps us to hold each other accountable to just getting away and resetting. So
it's almost like you're connecting with nature, God, and you're connecting with yourself, and you're connecting with each other. So it's like threefold almost. This woman is a serious bow hunter. I've seen some of her, I don't know, what do you call them? Prizes? I don't know. What do you call it?
Trophies, I guess.
Trophies. Yeah. And she's, she looks, she's mighty. Let's put it that way. She might not look big, and she's not a big woman, but she's very mighty and strong, and she's done some amazing things. Let me push it a little bit. Like, what do you do like during the week? Do you have like connection points during the week or on the weekends? Oh my God, I wish I could remember the name of the book. I saw a book. Someone just wrote a book on it. I saw it on LinkedIn this morning. It said, "Only the devil emails at night." And it was like stories of bad bosses or something.
Yeah.
So, So what do you do like to disconnect on the weekends at night for each other?
Well, one thing that's super helpful, Brian has always been a great accountability partner when it comes to boundaries at home. So even before I took this role, I mean, his questions are around, what's your workload going to be? And are you going to be working nights and weekends? And the fact that he wants me to be healthy and doesn't want me to burn out or to, burn the candle at both ends. If I'm working late at night or on a weekend, I'm going to get called out. So there might be some, right before a great big meeting or something, there might be the one-offs, but that's more of the exception. We try to very much protect our nights and weekends to be able to recover. And we're not big planners because we're very planned Monday through Friday. So we sort of like we both are very early risers. So we like just, waking up, having coffee together on the weekends and seeing what the day, turns into. So.
Yeah, I love you. We do need to hold each other because my husband works in the same house as me. So I mean, he's downstairs around the corner, and I'm up here. And sometimes we go all day; we don't even see each other. Mm-hmm. And then for us, it's always like put the phone down. It's so easy. Is it going to be hot tomorrow? I don't know. Pick up the phone, and we're just picking up the phone for so many things. So we really like kind of try to lay down the no phone rule. He's actually playing golf right now. I shouldn't be He left already to go play golf this afternoon. So really finding that time with each other. And one other thing I want to talk to you about, which I'm bouncing back a little bit to work, is the empowerment. I love how you talked about, you needing autonomy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I find with people I coach, sometimes they're it's a good feeling to be needed. So then everybody needs you for every decision, and your phone's blowing up, your emails are blowing up, but then you can't get your own work done. Mm-hmm. I want you to walk me through like your empowerment. Like, how do you empower others? How do you, the word that comes to mind is everyone always says, I have an open door policy, but then you never get your own work done. So how do you balance those two things?
I think showing your team that you trust them and encouraging them in the decisions that they're making. And there's a lot of times that those decisions and the direction might be different than what you would do. And I've always held the belief that the team's idea is always going to be better than mine. Because when you put all the strengths together, you end up evolving into something that no single individual probably would have thought of. And I also know personally how good it feels when someone empowers me, and it feels like a gift, and I want to be able to give that gift to others. And when you do empower someone, even if they're unsure, and it's like, take a risk. If it doesn't work, we'll pivot, make another decision, right? And I'll support you in that. And when you see how much that providing that experience helps them to grow and to then provide that experience to their team, it's just a very it's uplifting.
It's so nice. And you said something, I love that you said, I just assume their ideas are going to be better. Mm-hmm. That's like powerful. I don't think that everybody, most of people think our ideas are the best, and we listen to other people's ideas just to tell them our idea. So kind of flipping it. Years ago, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, And someone said to him, how do you, like, when you do stand up, everyone's like heckling and booing. How did you do it? He goes, I just decided I love them before I got out there. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh my God, what a mind shift. Mm-hmm. So you just decided their ideas are better.
Yeah.
So that's a great one. The other one you said, which I'm bouncing because my brain is going to something you said earlier about when you have a boss that maybe isn't your style. You said it very politically correct, your favorite style. Mm-hmm. And you said you look for strengths. Now, I'm a big believer in that. Can you talk us through like how, because a lot of times when you have a bad boss or a boss that maybe isn't your style, it's so easy to zero in on all the things you don't like. What is your process for zeroing in on what you do like or respect about them?
I think you take the obvious things that are frustrating or that you don't like and put them on a shelf. And then just reflect on what are the things that this person is doing or the experiences they have that I can learn from. Because there's always some sort of perspective they have that if you understand it and you listen, I mean, your job, and there's no role where you shouldn't have to lead up at some point. And so there's a great growth opportunity to be able to lead up to every type of manager, regardless of style, and understanding what's important to them and their strengths and where they're focused and what perspective. You have to understand that first before you can influence them. So I almost think it's a great development opportunity and something that takes practice. And the more practice you get doing it, the more it'll probably serve you in the future.
Again, these are just mind shifts that, I could work for anyone, right? I can get along with everyone. You make that mind shift. Maybe you don't like them. You don't have them over for dinner, but you make a decision that you're going to be able to get along with everyone that you work with, to get the job done. I love that. We might have answered this already, but I am going to go to, my first book was Happiness is a Habit, and it was all about the habits of positive people and healthy people. When the rug does get ripped out from under you and things maybe don't go the way you want at work or at home, what are your go-to habits to kind of rebalance and get yourself back on track?
Yeah. I think I'm probably an ambivert. So there's times I'm introverted and times that I'm extroverted. And when things are off track or I feel like I've maybe not, I've had a period where I didn't have balance. Even my husband knows this. He's like, okay, I know your week's been crazy. So I'm going to go work on this hunting property for 2 days or a day and give you just some time by yourself. And really just having that time where I can reset on my own and, have a great workout and, do some serious self-care where I'm not trying to solve problems and I'm not have my face shoved in email, where I'm just getting away, go outside, go on a long walk, go work out, just have some me time, just resets me. And then I'm ready to be around people again.
Yeah. And it's so good to have a spouse that gets it. Yeah. Sometimes, people take it personally and it's not personal. It's just, you have to refill your cups or you can't give it to the other person. So really, I was watching some movie once. I remember the wife, I think she was a mother. She told her husband she was going away with her girlfriends and she just checked herself into a hotel room to be by herself for the weekend. And it's like, but to have that relationship where you could say, I need this me time. So excellent. If you could leave us with one thought or one book or something that's really helped you or changed you, what would you share with us?
It's a great question. So one of the books that I've been reading recently, it's called Unbreakable by Vonda Wright. And I'm a big believer in, the power of knowledge. And as I've been, continuing to age and experiencing some of these perimenopause things, there's a lot of nuggets in her book. And, a lot of the science in the past was based on men and not necessarily women's physiology. Yeah. So I've learned a lot. One of the things that she talks about that really resonated with me is the difference between grit and hardiness. And it's interesting.
Share it with us. What's the difference?
Yeah. So she talks about how grit is kind of that blind commitment. You make this commitment and no matter what else happens, like you're staying committed to the goal, even if the goal is not working. And then I think about some of the things that I've learned from you around take a minute to really think about how does this make me feel? And when you look at hardiness, it's you're committed, you have that grit, but then when it's not serving you or it's not making you feel good, you pivot such that now it's working. And I think, people that go too fast, like myself, sometimes you get in that race, that grit, blind commitment, and you don't stop to be like, wait, this isn't serving me. This doesn't feel good. So I need to make a pivot to make sure I'm writing my own outcome. And
I love it.
Those are the two things of just taking a minute to ask, how I'm feeling, and not being afraid to pivot and be, kind of exemplify that hardiness. And then I think the thing that I'm also really focused on that I would encourage others to is, I try to reflect and ask, so what is it that God is trying to teach me right now? Whether it's this week or this day, who's he putting in front of me that I'm supposed to be learning from or teaching something to? And then is where I'm focused personally and professionally enabling me to live out my purpose. And one piece of advice you gave me 5 years ago, and I've shared this with people many times, I called you one time before I was going to make a major career move, and I was asking your advice, and you said to me, do you remember what you said to me?
How does it feel in your gut? I don't know what it is.
You said, Kristin, follow the energy.
Oh yeah, that's my line. Yeah.
And I remembered that, this opportunity that I was, it was a new role I was going to post for. And I remember when I was thinking about it and praying about it and talking to my husband about it, I got such butterflies. I don't think I slept for like a month because I was so excited. And your follow the energy really resonated with me. And anytime I feel like I'm getting that feeling about an opportunity personally or professionally, to me, that's the door I'm supposed to walk through. And that allows me to really live out my purpose, because I wouldn't be getting that energy if it wasn't purpose driven. And when it's not that way, when it's confusion, then I know it's not a path I'm supposed to go down.
Okay. Hope everyone was taking notes, because she gave you just like 4 or 5 things in that. Like there's so much good energy. Like ask God what he wants. I journal in my journal in the morning. What does my soul want me to know today? Or where should I focus? You said so many good things. The book you're reading, Kristin and I have had full on conversations just about menopause. I'm older than she is, and not being afraid to have those conversations, because we're real women in the real world, and it shouldn't be embarrassing. It's our real bodies are changing, but there are new things to do. So oh my gosh, you are a wealth of wisdom. And, that clarity piece, like when you're unclear, sometimes I always say, it's like, I maybe can't take the leap, but I could take the baby step. Yes. So I always tell people to just really be open to the baby steps, because they definitely get you, versus not doing anything. I never understood for years that saying they used to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then they're meaning like, don't give up on your dream, just take a different road, right? Don't just throw away the whole thing, which a lot of people do. It has been an honor. I just respect you, admire you, and you inspire me so much over the years watching you navigate this. She's got a really big job, folks, and she navigates it with such grace, letting people know that she cares about them and she gets a result. So I just thank you so much for being a guest on Write Your Outcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you know, Michele.
Mwah. Namaste. Love you.
Love you too.